afternoon and welcome to India Today. I'm Anjali Istwal. We begin this bulletin with breaking news coming in from Goa right now. There is action being taken against the Luthra brothers' property in Goa. This is in Vagator, where a club that was created and operated by the brothers is now being razed to the ground. Bulldozers are currently present over there, and that nightclub is facing bulldozer action while the two accused have fled to Thailand. Now, the Goa Chief Minister has directed this crackdown. Joining us now from Goa and outside that club is India Today's Divyesh Singh. Divyesh, do tell us what kind of action is happening right there.
Well, the action is about to begin. What we are hearing from sources in Goa government, that the action, demolition action in this very club. We are present inside this club. See, this is Romeo Lane, also a club owned by the Luthra brothers, the prime accused in death of 25 innocent persons at another club which was Birch by Romeo Lane, and this is Romeo Lane at Vagator. Remember, India Today had yesterday brought to light about information about this club, that this illegal club was constructed on government land. This club is constructed on a land belonging to the Department of Tourism of Goa government. There was an demolition order issued by the Goa bench of Bombay High Court to demolish this club, but despite that superficial action was taken, this wasn't demolished. Then the Department of Tourism complained, and again a demolition order was issued. Again there was no action, and since 2021 till Sunday this club was functioning. This is right on the Vagator beach. I would ask my camera person to pan and show that this is right on the Vagator beach. This is located on the Vagator beach on government land, and the Luthra brothers were running this club. This was also a ticking time bomb. You can see the complete decor, the complete interior of this club is made of wood, cane, jute. Wood, cane and jute. The flooring is of wood. This loft has been created on wooden planks, and if in case there is a fire, this is highly flammable material that was used across the club, from the hilltop where the club entry is there till the bottom. It is completely made out of wood, wooden planks, jute, cane and such flammable items.
Divyesh, if this is on the beach, and as you're saying it's the tourism department land, then probably this is supposed to be a shack. So it has come under the shack policy that we see. So it's supposed to be a temporary structure according to the shack policy, isn't it?
Anjali, if it's a shack, if it was a shack, there has to be a shack license. This is a completely illegal structure. There is no permit, there is no license, no permit to run a restaurant, no permit to run a shack, no permit to run a bar over here. This is a completely illegal club. Another club of Luthra brothers, and completely illegal. Yesterday, India Today had brought to light along with activist Ravi Sarmalkar, that who had been pursuing this complaints regarding this club, that this was operating illegally. It had no licenses, it had no trade license, it had no bar license, it had no pollution board permit, it had violated the coastal regulatory zone norms, and despite that it functioned for good 5 years till the fire broke out at Birch by Romeo Lane. 25 people died there, and only after that the Goa government woke up and they sealed this property and along with other 3 properties belonging to the Luthra brothers. But this was functioning till Sunday. Till Sunday afternoon this club was functioning, and it is a completely illegal property, and that is why the demolition order has been issued. Remember, Goa CM has now issued demolition order, but this club already had demolition orders issued by the High Court, by the Department of Tourism, but despite that it hadn't been demolished. It was functioning as usual. There was no police action being taken. There was no action being taken by the pollution board, no action being taken by the Goa government, despite like this is a land grab. Luthra
Absolutely.
brothers had grabbed a government land and were running a club over here.
Absolutely.
So this was not just constructing or not just running a illegal club, but this was operating on government land. They had encroached, they had grabbed government land, constructed a club over here.
Right.
And despite High Court order, despite government order, demolition didn't happen. Only superficial action happened and
Right.
it functioned as usual. Anjali.
Right, Divyesh, quite shocking what you've just brought to us. Such a massive and expensively constructed restaurant over there and a club over there, which is actually illegal on government land. Thank you very much. And now it's time to go across to Sakshi Batra of Business Today with all the updates of the markets. Sakshi, over to you.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Market Closing Show. This is our collab show between Business Today and India Today Television. It's the 3 p.m. show where we get you all the market closing action. First up, let's take a look at what's hot in the corporate and the financial world. Indigo chaos continues as over 500 flights are cancelled today. Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu says operations are stabilizing but warns that safety in civil aviation is non-negotiable and has asked the DGCA to take strict action against Indigo with a 5% winter schedule cut order now submitted revised plan by December 10. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, reacting to the ongoing Indigo flight crisis, has now urged that rules and regulations must strengthen governance, not create hardship for citizens. Kiran Rijiju says the Prime Minister has stressed that no Indian should face inconvenience due to government systems. Stock markets show caution right ahead of the U.S. Federal Reserve's FOMC meeting outcomes. The Sensex has fallen over 400 points in trade, while the Nifty continues to slip up below that 25,900 mark. IT and auto stocks weaken, while the PSU banks and the realty see buying after yesterday's heavy sell-off. KRBL, LT Foods and other rice stocks have tumbled up to 10% after President Donald Trump has hinted at fresh tariffs on Indian rice imports, accusing India of dumping cheaper grain. The move also has heightened the US-India trade tensions, with more tariffs now looming on the Canadian fertilizer too. Wakefit's 1,289 crore rupees IPO enters day 2 with sluggish demand. Overall subscription at just 30% so far, and the grey market premium has cooled to 5 rupees, signalling weak sentiment around the stock. Retail shows strength with 1.3 times bids, but QIB interest remains largely muted. Let's straight away look at the top breaking news at this moment. Prime Minister Modi's Reform Express phrase, the reform happening rapidly with clear intent. Prime Minister has urged ministers to flag real issues. Reform Express is to reach every household. Prime Minister is now seeking to end the paperwork chaos, and Modi has also pushed ease of life agenda, ease of doing business as the top priorities. Prime Minister Modi has also said that reforms are gathering pace, and Prime Minister has also called to end the 40-page forms as well. Let's first up listen in to Union Minister Kiran Rijiju on the same.
आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी का रिफॉर्म्स एक्सप्रेस चल चुके हैं, रुकने वाला नहीं है। अब ये रिफॉर्म जो है हर एक नागरिक का जिंदगी को बदलने का रिफॉर्म है। कोई लोग रिफॉर्म कहेंगे तो ये सोचेंगे कि इकोनॉमिक रिफॉर्म सिर्फ है क्या, पॉलिटिकल रिफॉर्म है क्या, एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव रिफॉर्म, कल्चरल रिफॉर्म, अलग अलग सोच सकते हैं। प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी जी का रिफॉर्म का मतलब है हर एक नागरिक का जिंदगी में सुधार। प्रधानमंत्री जी ने एक बात को बल दिया है कि कोई भी कानून बनेगा, अभी से कोई भी नियम बनेगा, उसमें ऐसा कोई प्रावधान नहीं होना चाहिए जिससे किसी भी नागरिक को नुकसान हो या तकलीफ दे।
For more on this, I'm now also joined by my colleague Chetan Bhutani. Chetan, well, first up, help us understand when you talk about the reforms express, what is it that the government is now going to be peddling in first on? What are the top priorities there?
Well, Sakshi, clearly the year 2025 has been about the government trying to make ease of living a reality, because in the past 3 to 4 months specifically, we saw great, GST reforms coming in. We saw the new labor codes being rolled out. And then, in fact, in the budget, a new income tax structure was announced. And the government recently also announced opening of the nuclear energy sector to private players. Moreover, in fact, in our informal conversation with Niti Aayog CEO, he also hinted that the government is working on more set of reform that would likely be come at Diwali. But yes, it has been postponed for now. So yes, the budget is around the corner, and the new year and new agenda items for the government to come in. The government definitely wants to reduce the license Raj, the inspector Raj. In fact, if you recall, the government has set up a Rajiv Gauba panel, which is looking to ease of life, ease of doing business, and ease of business reforms, a complete different reforms, which the government would ensure to end the license Raj, inspector Raj, and other octroi taxes that literally helped businesses to not gain their market share. But now the government really wants to ease out licensing, ease out 30 to 40 forms that Kiran Rijiju was talking about, and give a simple, easy life structure to the citizens of the country.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot then, Chetan, for giving us all of those details. Let's now also welcome our stock market expert of the day. Avinash Gorakshakar, market expert, is now joining in to share with us his views on the markets and what strategies you must adopt right now. Well, when we look at, Avinash ji, warm welcome first of all to you. When we look at the markets, they continue to remain very, very nervous at this point in time. Last week, we had still seen some celebration around the record high levels, but again, seems like we have lost the momentum this week. Even yesterday, the markets had shut shop on a weak note, and today again, it's been a choppy ride. What do you think is the reason behind the same?
Yeah, good afternoon, Sakshi. I think markets are volatile for the simple reason that a lot of liquidity has got sucked in by the primary markets. Secondly, the rate cuts which I think have not been able to infuse that kind of confidence that the global headwinds are going to reduce. In fact, the biggest pain point for the Indian capital market is basically the FI selling. Before that, we had a small kind of volatility on the rupee side. The rupee depreciated significantly in a very short period of time. So I think it's a tug of war between the domestic funds and the FIs. I think till the time the Q3 numbers don't come out and we don't see any major policy changes from the Fed, I think clearly that is also going to be one big element. And most importantly, I think despite encouraging macro data numbers, the mood in the market is that everybody wants to sell in the secondary market and apply in the primary market. So I think primary market offers have multiplied significantly, and that has put significant pressure on the buying by the domestic investors. So I think till that time, you're going to see a lot of volatility and the markets will move in a narrow range.
Okay, got that. Let's actually also look at the aviation story that we've been tracking very, very closely for all of you viewers, especially Indigo. All right, and before that, we'll actually take one breaking news that's coming in on your screens. Viewers, this is CBI booking Anil Ambani's son in the bank fraud case. And we're also looking at another statement that actually coming in for Indigo itself. Peter Elber's fresh statement is actually coming in as far as Indigo operations are concerned. He has said that Indigo operations are now stable, and he will let he said that of course they will not let you down. He's also said that we are sorry and cannot undo the cancellations, but the team is working very hard for all of us. And he's also said that they've started a no questions asked refund as well process. They are also working to restore Indigo's network going forward from here. So that's as far as the Indigo space is concerned. So we are going to be focusing on Indigo. Let's in fact go on and listen in to what Peter Elbers had to say in this fresh statement. We have the bite. Okay, we'll quickly just get that word out for all of you. But remember, Peter Elbers in this latest statement has actually come in on Indigo operations being stable now. He also said that they're not going to let people down. They are sorry and they cannot undo the cancellations. But their team is working very hard for of course, starting a no questions asked refund process as well. They're working to restore Indigo network as soon as possible. This is what Peter Elber's latest and fresh statements are coming in right now as well. In fact, Karishma is with us on the program. My colleague Karishma Sudani, who's been tracking the Indigo story for all of you for days now. Karishma, this is Peter Elbers saying for the first time that, their operations are stable. And he's also said they are starting a no questions asked refund policy. He's also said that although they are sorry and cannot undo the cancellations at this point in time, but their team is working very hard to stabilize the network. This statement is of importance, but we have to see whether the situation gets resolved very, very soon on ground too.
Well, it's actually important that he emphasized the fact that while they were expecting the situations to stabilize by December 10th or a little beyond that, they've been able to do that a day before. That is what is coming in from the Indigo CEO, and he's continued to say that they are deep diving into an internal discussion to understand what led to this, despite the fact that a lot of news and reports have been coming in where the pilots have also been sharing a couple of updates on the fact that this was much expected. And now DGCA this morning announced of a 5% cut of Indigo's flight operations for their winter schedule, which is a big update and a big loss for an airline like Indigo, which holds close to 65% market share in India. In fact, we have been told that a couple of busy sectors will be given to other airlines, key airlines operating, which could be Air India, Akasa Air, and SpiceJet. This may not end here until and unless the new FDL norms are adapted with incomplete success. There could be further reduction of flying slots.
Absolutely. We have Peter Elbers right now for all of you to watch as to what he has exactly said on the situation being resolved.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear customers, I'm Peter Elbers, the CEO of Indigo. Following our earlier communications, today I'm here to share that your airline, Indigo, is back on its feet and our operations are stable. We've let you down when a major operational disruption happened, and we're sorry for that. The beauty of air travel is that it brings together people, emotions, ambitions, and aspiration. And we know that you were traveling for various reasons. Thousands of you could not travel, and we are profusely apologetic about that. While we cannot undo the cancellations, I want to reassure that ever since, our entire Indigo team has been working very hard. First and foremost for you, our valued customers. Initially, our first priority was to get all stranded and delayed customers safely to their destinations or back home. Then we started our refunds. No questions asked. Lakhs of customers have already received their full refunds, and we continue to do so on a daily basis. Rest assured that we are fully committed in getting this done. Most of the bags stuck at airports have already been delivered back to your homes, and our teams are working very hard on delivering the remaining ones very soon. And we also continue to address all customer needs. In parallel to addressing your needs as a customer, the restoration of Indigo's network and flights was being done on a war footing. On December 5th, we could only fly 700 flights. Thereafter, gradually yet steadily improving to 1,500 on 6th, 1,650 on 7th, 1,800 yesterday, and today more than 1,800. As of yesterday, we are back of flying to all our 138 destinations in our network, and our on-time performance has also been normalized. Earlier, we had indicated to normalize between the 10th and the 15th of December. I can confirm now that today, as of December 9th, our operations are fully stabilized, which means flights reflecting on our website are scheduled to operate with an adjusted network. So please continue to check our website for updates. We continue to work in full cooperation with the government. And now that the immediate crisis is dealt with, we started to focus internally on what has led to this, lessons learned to be drawn, and how to emerge stronger from this. While there's still customer angst, I would like to also share that we're getting heartwarming messages from our customers and the people are back to booking on our flights, which is giving us a big encouragement. Thank you for accepting our apology, and thank you for your patience, understanding, and support during this difficult time. Please keep the faith in us. We're still the airline you have known us to be. Thank you.
Whereas this is a very big statement coming in from the CEO of Indigo, Peter Elbers, as he says that as of today, they have now fully stabilized their operations. Karishma, let me come across to you and find out, has the picture on ground improved significantly? As Peter Elbers has said, that slowly and gradually they were increasing the number of flights right from 5th of December to now. Are they back to full flights, as well as, if you can help us understand, no cancellations as of today?
It's actually very important to note that currently we are awaiting numbers on how many, in terms of the stabilized operations, that how many flights did Indigo operate, which could be expected in about few hours from now. But knowing the fact that Indigo had already announced that they will not be able to operate in fully operational zone because the recent issue, they decided they'd actually go for a number that's closer to what they were always operating. And as the winter schedule, they are supposed to operate close to, say, 2,330 flights. Yesterday, they operated about close to 1,800 flights, but today they were able to operate close. Today, it's expected that they will be able to operate a bit more than that. It is important to also check the website because there has been a new adjusted schedule and travel plan that has been updated by Indigo for passengers.
Okay, Indigo shares right there spike after we have seen the CEO really talk about operations being simplified and now stabilized as well. 0.9% uptick for Indigo shares at this point in time, and you can see about a 49.63 kind of a level for Indigo coming in. A huge respite for Indigo after some 7 days of a decline where we had seen the stock price crash by about 17%. Right now, 4,992 is what the stock is trading at, 1.3% higher in trade. That's a strong move that we have. In fact, let's actually also listen into what Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu had actually said as far as Indigo is concerned. A strong statement actually came in from him as well, saying the meltdown is finally easing. He also did indicate that other airlines are running smoothly nationwide. He has also said that the DGCA has slapped show-cause notices to Indigo's top brass, and the government is overseeing the refunds, baggage recovery, and passenger support at this point in time. Let's, however, also see how Mr. Ram Mohan Naidu has also said that no airline, however big, will be allowed to put flyers through a chaos due to planning lapses or through non-compliance. Let's listen into what he had to say truly.
Depending on the outcome, strict and appropriate action as empowered under the Aircraft Rules and Act will be taken. No airline, however large, will be permitted to cause such hardship to passengers through planning failures, non-compliance or non-adherence to statutory provisions.
Let me go across to Avinash Kurakshakar, our market expert, to really understand as to how should you view Indigo as a stock at this point in time once there are positive statements coming in from the management as well as the government taking full cognizance of the current state situation as far as the aviation is concerned. Avinash ji, how would you look at Indigo shares? They are recovering, from the sharp losses that we have seen all through last 6-7 days. Do you think even now, looking at the kind of crash that we've already seen in the stock, this would in fact on the hindsight be a great opportunity to enter for the long term, because structurally and fundamentally Indigo still sounds well placed?
Yeah, exactly. I think, Sakshi, things will definitely gradually get back to normal. But I think in the short term, what is going to happen is there are going to be few challenges. Like the government is thinking of cutting some routes for Indigo, and which will obviously be given to other competing airlines. So, we don't know what is going to be the new schedule for winter. And this is the festival season. This is a busy season for most of the airlines. So I think we'll have to wait for some more clarity post the December quarter numbers and some fresh regulatory kind of, developments which are going to be announced very soon. So I think net, yes, Indigo is a good opportunity for the longer term, but in the short term, they'll have to face some margin pressure because of these developments.
Absolutely. Let's also try and understand from you as to beyond Indigo, what are the other opportunities that you're tracking for the investors at this point in time? Any key sectors or stocks that are still offering a lot of value, even though we are closing in on the year end? This year has turned out to be kind of a muted one in terms of returns as far as the Nifty index is concerned, about 7-8% of a move on the higher side. But overall, for those who are still planning on their next year's portfolios, what would you advise them?
No, I think clearly, we are positive on automobiles, auto components, hotels, hospitality, even the hospital sector. And I think clearly, whatever sector is related to the domestic theme is definitely expected to do well. Within the automotive basket, we continue to be positive on Ashok Leyland and Mahindra. In the auto components pack, we like Sundaram Fasteners, we like Shriram Pistons. And within the hotel sector, we have been telling on your channel that I think companies like Indian Hotels, Lemon Tree, these are opportunities which I think investors should look at. There are many unique business opportunities like BLS International, which is the largest visa processing listed player in India. That could also be a very good, interesting opportunity. So I think, clearly these are opportunities in such a weak market where you're getting very good valuations and current prices offer a good entry point. So I think, one has to keep the conviction and keep a time frame of at least 12, 15 months and stay invested in all these companies.
Fair point. Moving on next, viewers, let's also see how the other important factor beyond the markets is also the currency. Indian rupee against the dollar has actually begun its life beyond 90, and rupee is now the worst performing currency in Asia, and it's also keeping foreign funds away from the market. In fact, earlier, my colleague Shail Bhatnagar spoke to E. Bala Subramanian of Aditya Birla Sun Life AMC on the rupee outlook. So let's listen in to what he had to say, and then we'll continue our conversation with Mr. Gorakshakar.
I think what has happened to rupee, in a sense, it is in line with what are the expectations, given the fact that Indian rupee had outperformed the global market for a very long period of time, and this is the first year they've let go the rupee dollar to go to about 90. It is in some sense, it is also beneficial from the exporters' point of view. It helps, especially at a time where there's an FI's outflow. And also we are seeing FDI inflows have been reduced, where the exporter can make more money. In that sense, the rupee dollar about 90 is not an issue. Plus, global energy prices remains somewhat under control. Therefore, we are also not importing inflation from global market because it's led by the currency. So my assumption is, I think once the tariff settlement happens, which is what I think all of us are having high hope that soon we'll reach some kind of settlement, assuming it happens before the year end, then we will actually get some kind of reasonably good handle on the currency in terms of rupee dollar moving a little more better than what you have seen. But I think it's $90, it's something. I think it's going to stay for some more time, given the fact that we need, while the domestic economy should grow, we also need exports incentive. Okay. If we cannot give them by way of tariff, at least they get by way of currency being in favor of them.
Mr. Gorakshakar, I'd come back to you and try to understand from you, how are you looking at the rupee weakness, and does it also present any opportunity when it comes to the kind of export-oriented sectors are concerned? IT, for instance, the other export-oriented sectors, do they stand to benefit with this weakness in the rupee?
No, definitely. I think, the rupee weakening is going to benefit export-oriented sectors like IT, auto components, pharma, and selected chemical companies. I think clearly, companies which have got 60-70% of their revenue coming from exports would expect a slight margin improvement, considering the fact that even if they have to pass some currency benefit to the customers, they would still make a net gain in the overall scenario. So I think, you could look at companies like Bharat Forge, or for that reason, even Sundaram Fasteners, or typically even IT companies like Infosys, HCL Technologies. We have been quite positive on these large cap IT names because we feel that Q3 also should be on an equally strong note. And hopefully, once the India-US trade deal is signed off, you'll see a lot of clarity coming in from a lot of orders which are yet there in the pipeline. So I think IT is definitely one sector which is going to benefit significantly from the rupee depreciation.
All right, let's actually look at how the markets are shutting shop now, and then we will kickstart taking some of our viewers' queries with Avinash as well. Looking at the last 1 minute of trade, 25,836 is where we are at this current moment. When we look at the markets, down about 124 odd points as far as the Nifty is concerned. So we are about a half odd point slower in trade, and you can see that on your screens as well. The Nifty Bank also was hovering higher for large part of the second half of the trading session, but it's minorly in the red right now at 59,214. That's the clear points, about 24 points lower in trade. So the Nifty Bank is slightly better off than the Nifty is what we do see, but it's the IT index, despite the weakness in the rupee, that continues to see some profit taking now, 1.2% lower in trade. Autos follow next. That's the other sector that you should be watching out for. That has also seen some drag today. Pharma, financial services, these are the sectors that are on drag. But on the flip side, you have the PSU banks that are actually hovering higher in trade. That's the top moving sector at this point, about 1% higher in an otherwise weak sentiment. You can also see real estate and the mid and the small caps that have also bounced back in trade today after yesterday's dropping that we have seen. Top movers on the Nifty, you have Eternal, the parent company of Zomato, as the top mover on the Nifty right now. You do see 291 on the stock, 2.3% higher. That's the top moving stock on your screens. Titan follows next with almost a 2% uptick. Adani Enterprises, that's another one that's moved to the higher spot. Adani Enterprises, Adani Ports, both of them in fact are up by over 1% and among the top gainers on the Nifty. On the downside, you have Asian Paints, you have Hero MotoCorp, Tech Mahindra from the IT pack that continues to stay on a weak note at this point in time. HCL Tech, Tata Steel and Dr. Reddy's are the other drag points. On the Nifty, the final print on your screens, 25,839 on the Nifty, and we have ended the weekly expiry session of the Nifty contracts on a weak note in the trade today. Let's actually go back to Avinash to take some viewers' questions. We have the first question coming in from Rakesh from Mumbai. He wants to know from you, Avinash, on the IPO space. You began the show by saying that a lot of liquidity is being sucked out from the secondary markets into the primary market space, and that's where the first question is coming in for. Rakesh says, should I subscribe to ICICI Prudential AMC IPO? What would you say?
No, I think, Swati, if the investor wants to subscribe to ICICI Prudential AMC, he can do so, but he has to take a time frame of at least another 12 to 15 months. If he's expecting listing gains, that may not happen, to that extent, because the listing game is now completely over. So I think, investors should realize that if they are subscribing to IPOs for only listing gains, for short-term upside, then I think there is no point in going for that. But yes, from a longer-term perspective, ICICI Prudential can generate a good long-term value to the investors.
Okay, let's take the next question. This is from Akash Arora, who says, he's from Delhi, and he says, could you please suggest the top 3 sectors to invest in right ahead of the union budget? And like we all know, the consultations for the budget have already started. Remember, 2 months from now is when we will be seeing, or 1.5 months from now, we'll be seeing the union budget being presented. So as a strategy right ahead of the budget, which are the sectors that you're watching out for?
No, I think consumption is going to be one sector which is again going to catch the fancy of the government. We could say that, a lot of products and services which come under the consumption basket could possibly be beneficiaries. It could be consumer durables, consumer appliances, or it could be fast-moving consumer goods. It could be possibly, basically even discretionary items like two-wheelers or passenger cars, that is the automobile sector. And one more sector which may find a little bit of fancy is the hospital sector. The government is going to, help healthcare services get better traction. And that's the reason we have seen a lot of hospital companies doing well despite the market volatility. So I think, these two sectors would be definitely be looked upon. Otherwise, I think the agri sector and the infrastructure sector plus defense and, the railway sector are choices which are definitely also going to attract the attention of the government.
Okay, last question that we have for you, Avinash, is from Astha from Lucknow. She says, sir, I want to invest 1 lakh rupees in the new year, but I want to know from you, should I invest in mutual funds, should I invest in gold, or should I look at direct equity stocks? How would you advise?
See, I think it all depends on the risk appetite of the investor. If the investor has a limited risk appetite, then it is better that he goes in for the mutual fund route. But if he has a reasonably good risk appetite, then I think direct equity can be a good option because, stock markets have not performed for the last 12 months. Market indices have also come down significantly. So you're getting good stocks at pretty good valuations, and so your entry point and your ROI will be significantly better over the next say 12 to 18 months. So my suggestion is, depending on your risk appetite, you have to take a call. Our sense is that you should have a mix of mutual funds and direct equity.
All right. Okay, Avinashji, thank you so much for being with us on the show and, of course, for guiding all our viewers as far as market strategies are concerned. Viewers, it's a wrap on the Business Today show right here. And in case you too have any questions about your investments in mutual funds, you have your SIPs running, stocks or gold-related queries, then please do send them to us on the number that's flashing on your screens. With that, it's a wrap. Many thanks for joining in, but do stay tuned with the market opening show tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. with Abha.